Coming in. All right. Hello and welcome to the first interview for Conscripted. I am here with MurderFace.
Hello.
Or I believe your real name is Michael, correct?
Yep, but call me Mike.
Okay.
I'm not a Michael guy.
All right, Mike.
Nah.
So Mike has produced a character for the game named Balarad. That is how you pronounce it because of where you put the apostrophe.
Yes.
So Balarad is. Let me pull back up your character real quick. I believe you were a barbarian
Blood
Rager. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Gotta touch the arcane in me.
I noticed it's still not fully in the character sheet yet, but you said you wanted to confirm some stuff with me. Correct. Yep. So what do you want to confirm here?
Okay. Big thing is the build I'm going here. Here I have it in a text format, so
okay.
I'll just copy and paste it for your convenience.
Yep. Thank you.
If Google Drive will cooperate with me. Google Drive, why are you not cooperating? Technology. Let's see if it worked. Okay. So this is just the feat line I'd be going. This is what I'm suggesting because of my archetype. I'm taking 2 because this one's level is Primalist and Spell Eater. Spell Eater is just in case. Hey, healer can't touch you. Well, I just sacrifice spells and heal myself. And so what I'm building is the Endurance Die Hard, because you said where you might experience the gamut of climates from hot to cold,
correct.
Desert. So taking the getting endurance from the racial trait of being a half-orc shaman's apprentice, I get endurance, and leading to the first level, pick up Die Hard.
Okay.
Also,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, leading to Die Hard, which hard to kill barbarian is always good and hard to kill.
Yes, and that's going to be important because this is going to be a potentially lethal campaign. So in some other games, I don't necessarily pull punches, but I don't use random encounter charts as strongly as they might otherwise be used, or I give the party a little bit more awareness because they have access to certain bits of information. You guys are kind of going to be encouraged as military members to kill as much as possible. So a regular party might go out of their way to avoid combat. Your party's kind of going to be negatively punished rather strongly if you're actively avoiding fights. And now one of the things to keep in mind about this is that all of you in the military here, where this is not necessarily a everybody's out to kill everybody, don't work together kind of thing. Everybody might be looking for that little edge to talk about here and there when their leader decides, oh, we shouldn't go beat up on this thing that's obviously going to terrorize this town over here in a couple of days. Like if you're within, say, 50 miles of a town and you leave a manticore just laying around to come attack that town, and that town gets attacked, and then they are calling the military out. You're responsible. You were in the area. You could have saw the manticore. One of your party members might say, hey, our leader said we shouldn't deal with that. He didn't feel like it was important enough to deal with. So you might end up in that kind of circumstance. So you're very much so incentivized to take on challenges as you discover them.
Yes, much like a normal civilization, we are the spear tip.
Correct.
We have to dive into it.
Correct. But the difference here where this lies is that the military of RA4 is a double-edged sword. The military is kind of its own organization. Imagine that the actual government had a privatized military. That is effectively what the RA4 military is. It's a semi-privatized organization. The country of RA4, the leaders of RA4 as the country itself, have attempted to change the way that is for RA4. They'd really like to have the military be under the guide of the leadership of RA4. However, the military is very happy with the way it is, and unless there is a strong enough force that truly opposes the RA4 military, they'll continue to demand tributes and demand compensation in situations where military force is required. So right now they have a sort of very gun-shy alliance the leadership of RE4 knows that the military could potentially take them at any time, that the current defense force in the central point of the sort of central homeland of where it presently is Catheros. You'll find that right kind of dead center of the map. While there is a good secure point for the leadership there, covered by quite a bit of magic, the military force is large enough and has powerful enough entities in it that they would easily be able to overtake Catheros in a lengthy war that Catheros would ultimately lose. But the military also knows that they would pretty much have to, demolish the landscape in order to do that and start a repopulation campaign. So they're not really incentivized to kind of do that thing. Does that make sense so far?
In a sense, it's kind of a teetering point.
Yes.
Where we could, it's almost like, how do you say, Shogunate Japan, in a sense. Where it's very easy to take over, but we really don't want to because we would have to conduct total war.
Correct.
And we kind of don't want to do that right now.
Correct. It is much easier to operate under the current status quo and just continue to fight against the system where you can. So what your job is you're essentially like the old mafia style. You're a protection racket. Cities and towns will pay you to protect them, but in exchange you are expected to actually protect them. And you'll find that compensation isn't going to be there necessarily if you're not taking care of these protections. Your conscriptions are not necessarily going to be heightened if cities are left to die, but at the same time, the cities do have to pay you, and it is important to force their hand a little bit here and there when you realize things aren't going your way. So
yes.
A lot of this game is going to be kind of being given a lot of orders, moving to specific locations to collect money, finding out if there are problems in the area or discovering problems that the town itself might not know about yet, and cleaning up those problems. So this is going to be a rather combat-intensive campaign. It's going to be a rather organized campaign that will still give you some free run of what you want to do, as long as you're meeting the kind of deadlines that are going to be placed for you. So once you're brought into the game, you're going to be given access to a calendar that I've produced that is based on the world's calendar. You're going to have like specific places you need to go to accomplish things on that calendar. In the meantime, you're pretty much allowed to do whatever you want, as long as the military doesn't consider what you're doing to be like overtly aggressive, like excessively aggressive. You pretty much have your way of whatever you want. People don't tend to fight the military when members of the military come to town. They're pretty much like, whoa, okay, you want it? You got it. Everything's not necessarily free. These places may still charge you money, and you can pick and choose where you want to try to be a little bit more aggressive about it. Bear in mind, there are roaming adventuring parties that try to do your job as well, so you may end up running against one of those if you get a little too aggressive with a bartender that might have made good friends with a group. But otherwise, like, where you want to go is where you want to go, as long as you make it to your appointments on time.
As long as you make it. Okay, I can see this. I like this. I like this idea. It's interesting. It's a little bit unique from most campaigns I've played, because there's one of two categories that campaigns I've played in. It's either we're playing a direct adventure path and maybe adding a little spice to it. That's it. Or, hey, this is complete homebrew. Have fun. I like this. This is in a good way.
I like to give my players flexibility, and this is actually a more difficult example here, because this is much more structured. I am often willing to give players kind of a drop them the world, give them some understanding, and then throw ideas out there and let them make the decisions for where they want to go. This will have some level more structure, while at the same time being, kind of fast and loose in the situations where it might be entertaining. So some things you'll need to know about my world, since you're not somebody who's regularly been in my world. First of all, the magic level in this world is crazy go nuts high. Everything that you buy every magic item that you buy is at a 10% discount. At all times, that's a flat rate. So if you're buying basic stuff, you can get a 10% discount, and there's lots of negotiation that people are willing to do. There is that, however, has made a lot of things in the world significantly more powerful. So in my world, I use kind of a hybrid system of the of what Wizards of the Coast uses is their Magic the Gathering system. It's not really that system, but there's elements of it that I find interesting that I've kind of put better understanding to, and then implement it into a system that uses ley lines as well. So there is a lot of magical power that flows through the world itself, and it's because the world itself is built on the world is built on a point where it can basically pool unlimited magical energy from the outside, and it has been pooling as much magic as it can. The idea of what's outside of this world is not player knowledge, though. Only a handful of PCs have ever gotten to the point where they have that knowledge. So bear in mind that you don't understand why it's high magic, but from an out-of-character perspective, it's helpful to let you know, like, there is a lot of magic, and you're going to experience a lot of high magic stuff. Okay. That being said, many of the monsters that you encounter have been altered by the amount of magic that's out there. Many crops and many people are carrying around lots of magic or interacting with a lot of magic. There are a lot of spellcasters, and spellcasters at low levels tend to die pretty easy. Spellcasters are often channelers of magic, so they kind of have magic in them. And if you're a monster running around and regularly consuming spellcasters, regularly getting magic in your system, because maybe as well you've eaten some magic enhanced plant life or magically tainted water or magically cleaned water, you're consuming a lot of ether as you're doing this. So you are essentially kind of becoming a more enhanced creature over time. This has taken hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years of mutation to happen. But over time you will find, like, don't trust your knowledge of what a monster is like in the monster manual or in the bestiary or bestiary, depending on how you want to pronounce it, because that's not necessarily going to be the same as what you're going to be encountering here.
So we might have a little spice to our monsters. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that. That's interesting.
But on the opposite side, you are going to have better access to money. You're going to have better access to resources, so long as you can survive the problems that are here. And a lot of stuff is you have regular access to. So expect that more of your questions when you ask about magical stuff are going to have yeses than they are nos. But also expect that it's going to be a lot harder to get away with what in many campaigns might be considered like acceptable. Pulling off a heist in this world against even a reasonable sized shop requires you to think about some magical barriers you might not expect in other games shop owners to have, because they're inexpensive here. Things like having a basic regular alarm set up on your shop is relatively inexpensive considering how much money you can make as a shop owner. The wealth gap is pretty big, though. Like, the poor are fairly destitute, and the middle class are pretty well up there, and there's not a lot in between. Farmers are often, like, very well compensated because they are able to, using magic, using the technologies that magic has created, produce much greater crop yields and be able to provide for much more people. However, much of this stuff costs more money, and so while crops are abundant, the costs of growth still get factored in. So people are eating. Like, the poor aren't necessarily starving. It's just that the poor can't really find jobs. When you're a person who doesn't have a lot of skills except doing manual labor, and most of the manual labor can be outsourced to magic, you find yourself kind of being able to eat and not being able to do a whole lot else. So many of them, like, will bundle up they'll bundle up their housing, they'll try to survive off of other things. There is a lot of criminal activity, especially as you get into cities. And as a member of the guard, you're, one, going to be a greater target for it, but two, going to be asked periodically to prevent out of control larger groups of maybe, thieves gangs, or like rogues gangs, or there might be some other extortionary adventurer rackets that you're going to be having to deal with.
Yes, quelling the undesirables.
Exactly. So that's kind of a pretty good wrap up for the game world. The current country of one last thing. The current country of RA4 is a quasi dictatorship. There is one there's one leader that sits at the top of the country of RA4's leadership. They have a council which offers up decisions, and the council has the ability to dethrone whoever it is that is at the top. However, it takes it takes a 4/7 majority in order to dethrone the person. There are 14 members of the council, so that means at least 8 members have to vote down the current leader. And thus far, that has never come to pass. The council is appointed by birthright. There are certain people from various towns that are given the ability to serve on the council as they age. Birthright is not necessarily the first in the chain. The birthright is given by whomever is currently in the seat. They bequeath whom the next will be, and they may choose to change that at any point prior to their death. Once they die, though, obviously, death is binding, unless very specifically you ask for magic to be involved at the time of your death. So, for example, if you believe that one of your family members is killing you, you may write into your who do I want to be the next in line, and you might put money aside for a speak with dead. And then after your death, they will cast the spell and determine who will be the one to replace you. So, again, lots of magic involved there. As a member of the army, you report the highest superior is the Thunderlord. It is a storm giant that runs the military. Below him, there are a number of Griffin riders that are all of various races. Below that, you get into just basically, your regular kind of military hierarchy.
Yeah, so as with most facets of life, it sections off from highest and then works your way down.
Correct.
Much like a corporate ladder or
exactly
any kind of organization with real flow.
Exactly. But there is very great opportunity to move up the chain. So one of the things that you'll have noticed in starting off with your conscription is you're basically given 2 options. We can kill you now, or you can join us. Or you might have been sold off by your family, but the option is still the same. We can kill you now, or you can work with us, and your life can be better than you'll expect. So if you're starting the game, obviously you've decided that this is you can also freely join the military. You can at any point walk in and say, I want to be in the military.
Joke's on you. I picked death. Ha ha.
Well, then I guess we're done with this.
Damn. I knew I should have picked the cake.
So go ahead and give me a little more detail about yourself.
All right. Well, Balrod is from Soul City, a village far to the east.
Okay. Hold on. You're naming a city, so you're calling it Soul City?
Oh, no. I was naming the city that's there, Stevlo.
Oh, Stevelo. Okay.
Yeah, it's a small village that's northeast.
You cannot be from Stevelo. Oh, so you're from a village. I'm sorry, continue. You said
it's here. I'm just using landmarks.
Gotcha.
It's on the coast. If you head due east and slightly north, it's right along the coast.
Okay.
Just while growing up, Balrod, village just disappeared one day. No explanation. Just Balrod left by herself. Army came, looked around, asked, "Where is everyone?" You don't know. And so they conscripted her conscripted him, and well, it was like, well, I have no one else to go to. Might as well join up.
And he's a rather large man, right? So he's the kind of target they would have immediately been like, well, how convenient. Your city is gone, and here you are.
Yep, your people are gone. Here we go.
And about how big was the village you came from?
Oh, it was a small village, about 250 at the absolute most on a good day.
Okay. All right, so from this, first of all, I have to offer you something that I try to remind all players. I let you develop your background, but then I get to fill it in. So your background will sometimes come back to haunt you, or maybe a storyline that needs to be finished. I will let you know as things happen. You are not going to get to decide why your village disappeared, though.
Nope. Okay. It just did. Don't know why.
All right. One day you may learn.
Maybe. Who knows?
So upon them conscripting you, one of the very first things that they do is they basically drop you in a pit with a wild animal. So in this case, a lot of what they happen to have on hand is rather dangerous. They don't typically expect that you're going to win your first fight. In fact, they don't want you to win your first fight. They want you to put on a good showing. So, you are dropped in, and I am going to decide what your first enemy is going to be. Let's see. Let's have some fun here.
RNG.
I didn't get to do all the random encounter charts I wanted to yet. I started working on them, but I haven't finished the stuff for the setup. So we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna look at some pretty interesting monsters that I particularly like.
Come on, Bugbear. Come on, Bugbear. Pop wants to fight a Bugbear.
Nope.
Damn.
You are going to... Alright, so you are dropped into a... basically, they have a little pit that they've dug out. And it's pretty steep. Like, you can't just run out of the pit. Well, it's very difficult to run out of the pit. Like, it would take you running for quite a bit. It's very slippery.
Very steep, okay.
Yes.
It's just difficult terrain all around.
Good. Correct. They basically have a small, like, cage that's dug into the ground. They have actually technically a few cages that are dug into the ground that all have an underground series of tunnels that lead to a location. You are basically pushed down into the pit, and you are told, "Survive until we save you." And as you get pushed down, you hear the sound of the clicking of a cage, and then it opens, and then up from inside of the pit comes a rather large panther-like creature with its skin kind of flayed back in the face. Do you have any ranks in knowledge nature?
Ooh, I think I actually do have a rank. Oh, no, arcane. Nope, I don't even have it as a skill.
Okay.
Blood Ranger.
All right, so you do not know what this is. Do you have your character filled out here?
Oh, yeah, here, I have the Myth Weavers. I just have not done all the mundane stuff like make an attack yet.
Okay.
So let me just leave that to you. There.
Oh, you should have the ability to edit your sheet. So have you worked with Roll20?
Yep, I've worked with Roll24. I just run through Myth Weavers, like I said. It's an alpha. You just look it over. Okay. And then I transferred to Roll20.
Okay. Hang on a sec. Yeah, that all looks good.
Perfect.
Okay. So go ahead and give me an initiative roll. Just go ahead and roll it up in the chat there. Right.
What's that?
That is MurderFace.
Oh, okay.
Hola. The number is 6.
All right. Not so great.
Not the fastest.
Let's see how the out of character. This is a Crenshaw does.
Did you already hit Bib?
I did not yet.
Are you going to be doing this for a while?
This is probably about a half hour.
Do you want me to start making something?
I was gonna make pizza.
Okay. Do you want me to start doing something?
If you're really hungry. We can switch to pasta if you
really.
prefer.
No.
Okay. All right, so the Crenshaw is obviously going first. So, when you're pushed down into the pit is about 40 feet wide. The Crenshaw is going to come up at about the 30-foot mark. It looks hungry. And it looks like it's kind of been battered around. It's probably not going to be as difficult as it could otherwise be. But we'll see how this goes. And it is going to rush you immediately upon getting out. Does a 20 hit?
Yes, for flat-footed,
Okay.
and also regular, so yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Good news is, not a huge damage die, so it hits you for 3.
Alright. Damage taken.
Yep. Alright, and it is on you. He is
Yeah,
right in your face.
Alright, I just have to double check. Be sure it's just the same as just going into normal rage. Blood rage. Oh, okay. I only get blood. I don't get. Okay, cool. All right, normal attack then.
Okay.
I'll use my great axe and not blood rage because I don't need it because it's not a spellcaster. I think. Or I'm sorry, me don't know. It's a stupid.
Nice. That is a solid hit.
All right, and that is 1. 12 strength mod, which is 3. 13 damage.
That is some solid damage. The Crenshaw looks very, very bad. And all the people are starting to kind of boo at the amount of blood that seems to be spewing forth from the Crenshaw. You hear in the distance somebody whistles. Do not attack again.
Okay.
And a pair of like riders come down, grab the Crenshaw with these 2 large arms, and pull it back into the cage.
Ooh.
One of them then rides down, lifts you up, and then brings you back to the side, and sets you down to once again watch as other people can fight their own battles within there. One of the lieutenants walks over to you and puts their hand on your shoulder, kind of having to reach up a bit to get there. It was a good showing. You're not like that guy, and you watch as somebody gets their neck their throat ripped out of their neck. You could have been that guy.
Oh, 1 second.
Go ahead. Oh, Doggo has joined the fray.
Yes, this is Scarlet. Fun. Okay, so let's sit back and see. Yeah, no, poor guy. Yes, use beauty. I strong. I know how to handle self, especially in situation with nasties. Not that. Okay. Yes, no, me know how to handle self on the battlefield.
I'm glad to see that. We need more like you.
As I point to the huge scar running from eyebrow to cheek.
What gave you that?
Had a nasty encounter. Big beastie. Left mark. I killed him.
You don't happen to remember what it was?
It was a griffin.
Okay. So, you're not a
Or
big...
not griffin. What do you call him? Oh god, I'm mixing my things up. Chimera. That's
Okay.
Let's see.
You're lucky you survived that.
I've had worse.
Can't imagine what worse you could have found.
Oh, when trouble finds me, it comes with territory.
Well, I think we'll have quite a place for you. We got a few more exercises that we'd like to take you through, just to kind of see if you've got anything else in you.
Sure.
He guides you to another location. Basically, they have a small room set up. You are out, by the way. I should point this out. Your character, are you looking at Roll20 at the moment?
Yep.
Okay. So you are a good ways north of Stevelo, right towards the center here. Can you see the flickering? Yep. So there is basically a large camp that's set up here. In the center, there is a massive tent where the Stormlord sits on his mobile throne. And there are a bunch of like smaller buildings that have been sort of constructed. You know that many of these could be taken down fairly easily, but they seem to like have them up here, and this is sort of the semi-permanent location of the military camp for this time. You're not exactly sure how long it sits in one place, but you have heard that like this whole camp can kind of pick up and be anywhere else they need it to be when the time comes.
Very mobilized.
Yes. So you're kind of led up to this room with a door, and he steps back from the door, and he says, "All right, can you make it to the other side?" Nothing will fight you, but can you make it to the other side? But you have to start by going through that door.
Of course I can.
Let's see it.
Okay. Whew. So, I open the door.
All right. Oops. I need you to take 1 point of electric damage as the
Ow.
door handle shocks you, but you get it open. All right. You enter into the room. The room is a long hallway. There is a slight set of stairs that lead up. Then there is another door.
I think I'll head towards the stairs.
Okay. You make your way towards the stairs, and does an 18 hit you?
Yes, it does.
All right. You are hit by a dart for 3 points of damage. You still up?
Still up. Do we need a fortune save? Was there anything laced in the dart?
No, nothing laced in the dart.
All right, I'll continue making my way up the stairs.
All right.
At the top of the place, or...
So you start moving up the stairs, and you notice there's something weird about these stairs as you get... well, give me a perception as you walk towards the stairs. That's pretty important.
Nope, nothing weird.
Yep, stairs seem fine. You go to start walking up the stairs, and give me a acrobatics or a... what's the other skill that I'm trying to...
Climb?
Or a climb check, yes.
I will choose climb.
Okay. Okay. So you manage to, like, plant your hands on the wall, and you, like, step up, and then you, like, push yourself forward and plant your hands into the wall again, and then pull yourself up, and you get to the top of the steps, and give me another perception check. Probably should have given you one of those on when you first entered that first hallway, but...
True. We can't rewrite it right now.
Correct. So here, you notice that there is a long slit down the side wall, down both sides of the wall in front of the door.
Is this going horizontal or vertically? Like, is it going the length?
It is going the length of the hall.
How high is it?
It is about average like waist height. So to you, probably about your hips or your upper thighs.
gonna sound weird. I'm going to get on all fours and crawl.
Okay. You crawl your way through. However, you miss one tiny thing, but it won't be too bad. As you get down on all fours, a set of actually no, these are well, no, that would be about right. A set of like small spikes come up out of the floor, and you just kind of like crawl your way through the spikes and get to the end. Are you still up?
Still up.
Okay. And then you open the door, and you are on the other side.
Ow!
He comes through and he pats you on the back. Well done. Looks like we'll have a bit of blood to clean up in there, but not a body. It's always nice not to clean up a body.
Yeah, keep the underlings busy with minor cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. Part of my master strategy.
We also get rid of a few of them that can't quite handle it. He hands you a flask. This is your reward.
Good. Chug.
It is a flask of whiskey.
Ooh, that sounds like a Constitution save.
It will be right now with as injured as you are. It's fortitude actually here. So.
Oh, fortitude. Sorry,
yeah,
that's a straight con. It's a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, it should be as a barbarian.
No, my fortitude is terrible. What are you talking about?
Oh. All right. So bloodied, tired. This stuff just hits you really hard, and your appearance kind of starts to shift in a noticeable way, as does a bit of your like swagger. And he like hits you on the shoulder again and notices like you wobble a little bit when that happens, and he laughs. You're pretty hurt, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where are you at hit point wise?
I'm at 1.
Okay.
So I'm wobbling a lot more than you think.
He guides you over. We'll get the healers to take care of you, but I think we've got a place for you.
Perfect.
If, however, you're willing to put in a little bit of work first.
Sure.
So, you make the bloodstains, you clean the bloodstains.
Oh.
In a little while, we're gonna send you back through. But for now, you'll rest up. The healers will take care of you, and we'll run you through cleanup now that you know where the mess is. And we'll see if you're smart enough to learn from your mistakes.
Right.
Okay, so basically they put you on this kind of cleanup duty for a little while. You survived the opening tests, which are really what they're looking for, is to see if you can get through that you either have the health to do it or the smarts to do it, and you definitely need to have the martial prowess to be able to make sure you don't just get downed by something right away. But otherwise, they feel like you're probably going to be a pretty easy fit here. You get a little bit of training as you go through this. They put you with a couple of people, give you a little bit of combat back and forth as well. Before you get to watch as actually party members around you die pretty consistently. Lots of little slip-ups will happen from people who really couldn't make the cut. Lots of combats where people will they won't drop out of a fight when they knowingly should drop out of the fight when they really don't have the potential to do so. So they end up taking that one extra hit that hits them for way too much damage, and they end up a corpse.
They lingered too long.
Yep. But you move through it pretty well overall. And upon completion of your training, you are handed a small bag of about 10 gold, and you are basically taken on a trip to a nearby town. You act as kind of a shadow during this. You get to watch basically as a team goes in with you at their side. They proceed to ask for the regular pay from the mayor of that town. The mayor argues that there's not quite enough money. And in this particular case, you get to watch.
Someone's getting swayed the hard way.
You get to watch as the town's going to have to elect a new mayor.
Oh, no.
The good news for you is drinks are on the house that evening.
Always good.
No one in town wants to fight with you. Everybody ends up getting quite drunk on their victory, and they head off to your room. You kind of have a little time to yourself here. Is there anything you want to do while you're in the town?
That's a good question.
It's a very small town. There's a bar here. There's a handful of people here. Probably about 150 people.
Yeah.
So maybe more of a village, really.
Village would probably.
Yeah, village is the right term.
I'll ask around. Have there been any persisting problems that we haven't been noticing? Anything out of the normal?
Sure. Give me either a diplomacy or an intimidate, depending upon how you want to go about this.
Intimidate it is.
All right.
As weird as it sounds.
All right. Tell me how you intimidate someone into telling you whether or not there are problems that no one's talking about.
Well, I grab the barkeep. You tell me problems. You see how big I am. I handle all problems. You tell me which ones are bothering you. Are there problems?
Just don't kill me, okay?
Okay.
All right. Look. I didn't want to bring it up because everybody seemed really excited about killing the mayor, but it's a really minor issue. I have a couple of rats, and not your normal rats, some larger rats, and they keep eating some of the food stored down below. Do you think you could take care of it?
No big problem. I can handle it. Me handle it. Me make rat squash.
All right. He leads you over to a small door that leads down into his cellar. Go ahead and give me a perception. It is rather dark down here.
I'm half orc.
Dark vision. Yep. I think you have 30-foot dark vision.
I believe you're correct. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, 60 feet. I have 60 feet dark vision.
Okay. So you start moving through there and looking around, but it's really dark, and like even with the dark vision in place, there's a lot of obstacles here and there. And before you know it, you have found the rat problem. Well, more so, the rat found you. So I'm going to... It's going to get a surprise on you. I'll roll it in here. Don't need to roll it separately since you already are aware it's there. +1, right? Yep. I'm rolling like a champion against you, by the way. I can never roll this good as a PC, but man, GM time.
Man, GM, doing GM things. Yeah, even flat-footed. You got me. You got the tater.
Alright, I'm going to need you to take 3 points of damage and give me a fort save.
Fort. Ooh, my forte. You would have it. Nope.
Oh, that sucks. Alright.
Dice have been against me today. Against me.
You've got filth fever. So if you survive this, that's going to carry on into the start of the campaign. Its onset is 1d3 days. I'm going to have it onset on 3 days to make this fill in. You'll get to check against it when you start the campaign to see if you can start recovering from it. and then you're going to take some dex and con damage. So, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that is in your character notes here.
Yep.
Filth Fever. All right, it is your action. Well, then we roll initiative.
Yes, we do.
All right, you are definitely going first.
I'm going to hit the rat with the thing.
Yep, pay this rat back for having the audacity to bite you.
I don't know if I will hit.
Sadly, it does not. It is not flat-footed because it is acted.
Yep, it got the surprise round. It caught the tater.
All right, it's going to try to come back at you, and give me another perception check. Okay, so you happen to hear the squeaking sound of another one coming out from around a stack of like a what do you call it? A rack of wine.
Wine rack, yep.
Does a 14 hit?
You got it on the button.
Okay.
Joke's on you. I can't have it twice. I think.
For 1 point of damage. You can't get it any worse.
Yeah, I know. I knew it.
The next one is going to spend its action. It basically burrowed up from the ground and then moved around the wine rack over to you. So it is your action.
So I'm going to chop-roo the one that bit me.
Oh, very good.
That's a crit.
That is a crit. Roll to confirm.
Oh, yes.
This is not 5e.
I think it confirms.
That definitely confirms. Roll double damage.
So, okay, how do you do? Do you want me to roll damage twice and be multiplied times?
I prefer rolling the damage, adding your bonuses, and then multiplying. That is my preferred way. I hate the rolling multiple times. Okay, some people like it. I prefer doubling up what you get.
Okay, so you want me just to roll 2 of my dice damage, or 3, sorry, great axe. Time 3.
Yes.
So 3, and then we add bonuses. Okay, so 3, 12.
Well, no, you roll 1d12 and then multiply. Roll 1d12 plus your strength bonus. I'm assuming strength and a half, and then times 3.
Strength plus 3. I have killer as one of my traits.
Okay.
So it's 3, 6, 7. I'm pretty sure I made rat souffle.
Oh yeah, this thing is like
sushi.
Yeah, you could if you really wanted to. Like, you've chopped this into some pretty fine pieces.
It's still a disease, though. Who wants it?
Mmm.
Good eating.
Love that filth fever. Share with all your friends. The other rat doesn't know any better about how epic what you just did to that rodent was, so it's gonna foolishly move in. Roll here. It's okay, Pup. God, I am... Yeah. You're taking all the D4s.
Yeah, no, man. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Oh, take that 1. At least they're not vicious.
It's the 3rd installation of Filth Fever.
All right.
Nope.
Oh, and you botch. All right, go ahead and this is early enough. Go ahead and give me a reflex save to not drop your weapon. All right. So you bring it down and you end up hitting the wine rack, and you reflexively try to pull back because you don't necessarily want to knock the wine rack over and create a mess. But when you do that, you feel your grip loosen on it when you kind of swing back. And you quickly reach out and hold it at the last moment. That was way too high a swing for something that's much smaller than you.
It's just because there's a lot of blood, because I sashimi'd that last rat.
It is very slippery at this point.
Gee!
The rat likes the taste of you though, and he is just not going to give up. He goes right back in. Your boot right now is in really bad shape for 3 points of damage.
Ow.
You're gonna need to pick up a new pair of boots.
Yeah.
Good hit. All right. Let's see if you down it, or if you're a disappointment. No, you down it.
Yeah. That wasn't as good as the other one.
Still gone though is the most important part. All right, so you thoroughly look around. These are he said a couple of rats. This is a couple of rats. There does not appear to be any other place. Do you want to investigate the hole the rats are coming out of?
I think I'll just go upstairs and say I did the job.
Okay.
Rather than risk being bit more.
Do you want to leave the corpses down here, or do you want to bring them up with you?
I'll bring the corpse that I know I have for sure, and maybe like a hunk of the tail of the other one.
Okay.
Just that there's more than one.
So you bring them up, and the innkeeper looks at you and goes, "Don't bring those up here. I don't need them to see it. Leave those down there." Thank you.
No.
I appreciate you taking care of that. And he reaches out and he hands you 2 gold.
All right. I throw the rat carcasses and what's left of it outside.
Okay.
Nature will take care of it.
So even though he said don't bring them up, you still bring them up and carry them out?
Yep, for my trophies.
Okay. All right, you get a number of looks from the patrons here, like wondering if maybe they should come back. And the innkeeper's like, no. He solved the problem. They're dead now.
No.
We don't have a rat problem anymore.
After dispose of the corpse, we handle the problem. I will roll the most.
Give me an intimidate.
Oh right, intimidate.
You have a +4 bonus to this because you guys killed the mayor. All right, so that is enough to make everybody like kind of shake their head and agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, yes, you've taken care of the problem. We're not gonna argue here.
Mission accomplished.
So the next morning, your group comes down. The barkeep tells them like, hey, thanks, for your recruit down here took care of this like rat problem I have. And they kind of come over and they like slap you on the back and they're like, okay, where's the money?
2 gold. There you go.
Okay. They take the gold from you and they pocket it themselves. You did good, and we'll make sure you're rewarded for that. But if you get money goes to your superiors. Doesn't go to you. You understand?
Low man on totem pole. We understand.
Exactly. All right, and then you are led back to the camp.
The encroaching filth fever approaching.
Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations. You will be accepted into the team. The most important thing is that you survived. You managed to brute force your way through the trap room. And you managed to complete a small secondary encounter and asked for one. So well done.
Yay!
There is about 300 experience to gain from all this. So your character will start off with some XP.
Okay.
And as I go through characters, I will determine which one is going to start off at
As a corporal?
Yes. I want to get a feel for all the characters, and yeah. Hopefully we'll get a few more applicants. I know one of the people has already mentioned that he is interested in playing. He's just very slow to come up, with a character. I've put feelers out for a couple more people, but like some of them are a bit slow to like get it integrated with stuff, or like some of them are intimidated by technology, which is always kind of annoying.
We have technology.
Yeah. But I know a few people that do have an interest in playing, so we should see it fill up here soon. There's a possibility that I may choose to start things a little early if we get just enough people. Like if we get all 3 of you guys to finish up. So if Ryan finishes up his character, and it's good enough, it's not like a character that just auto dies. We may start on a small number and have recruits join in as we find new ones that kind of fit the mold. Because I'm excited. I've got a lot of fun stuff that I want to do with this game. It's a nice like difference in how I normally run other games. So I think it could be a lot of fun. So I will let you know once we've got everybody and once we've got a solid run date. But welcome to the game.
Well, thank you. I feel welcome.
You're welcome. So then that'll be it for this. I gotta set up a time with Tom to do his interview. I would like it if you don't mind. I will be posting these up to YouTube, so I'd like it if you can watch the other members of the party once you know what the party is.
Totally.
Just so that you know, like, hey, here's the guys that are there, so we don't have to do massive reintroductions.
Who are you guys? Where's my horse?
Some of it you guys will also, some of it like you'll be able to see happening at the same time, so you'll kind of know the person ahead of time as well. You'll know like you're gonna get roped in with that group. So.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Any questions before we wrap up?
Nothing I can think of. See, we've covered most of the bases.
Cool. As anything else comes to mind, feel free to either message me privately or you are being added at this point to the Conscripted, the list of people that are officially conscripted. So that will give you access to another spot in the thing. While you're in here, I just want to make sure that it works because I had all kinds of problems with the last one.
Well, no. Again, at its core, and I always say role-playing games are about communication, and being transparent and accessible are the two of the best qualities you can have.
Yep, I agree.
Except if you're GM to player for being transparent. You shouldn't tell us everything you're doing because we don't need to know everything. Because if you did, there's the ace up my sleeve. Well, I thought I was going to have fun. Oh, no, I guess not. You just gotta be open to communication.
I mean, you have to make it clear to the players what is going on, but obviously you don't want to just tell them 100% what is going on. Some of it is kind of figuring out for yourself. So
I have a magical rule of thumb, and I hope you know it too. All GMs are lawful evil.
I am not. You will find that it's very hard for me to want to kill a player. It's very hard for me just to kill a player in general. That's why this is another way this game is going to be a much different feel for me. This is going to be a game where I let the dice kind of determine what happens. Normally I'm a storyteller when it comes to this kind of thing, and I try not to give challenges to players without telling them in advance, like, this is dangerous, maybe you shouldn't do this. In this case, we aren't going to really know what's dangerous. These are going to determine what's dangerous.
Who lives and who dies. Live by the dice, die by the dice.
Yep. So have a look here and see if you can see the camp on the Conscripted Discord.
I am in the camp. I have the access.
Excellent. So if you have any questions about the campaign, feel free to ask them in there. More stuff will be filling it as well. I'll be throwing some background details in there and some other information that you would know from your training. But if you have any questions, toss them in the camp.
Oh, no problem, Steve.
All right.
This has been fun.
Same.
Hope you do more, man.
We will. I promise you that. So.
All right.
All right.
See you a different day, my man.
Yep. Good night.